I'm Robin Gagnon.
And I'm Eric Gagnon, and we sell restaurants. We started the nation's largest restaurant brokerage firm, We Sell Restaurants, over a decade ago. You can find us online at WeSellRestaurants.com.
We are on your radio once a week with the leading authorities in the industry, talking about those subjects trending in the business. Tweet your own questions on this topic while we're on the air to our Twitter handle, Sell Restaurants, or post them on our Facebook page, facebook.com/We Sell Restaurants. If we don't get to your question, we'll follow up on social media.
Our goal is to satisfy your appetite for acquisition, feed the need for restaurant reality, and serve up a recipe for business success. If you have any ideas for our show or comments, you can email me. My email address is eric, E-R-I-C, @WeSellRestaurants.com.
Today's show focuses on the pizza segment. How big is the pizza business? Well, here's one measure. PMQ Pizza Magazine estimates the annual pizza sales revenue in the U.S. tops $52 billion. That's billion with a B dollars. That equates to 350 slices of pizza eaten every single second in America. We're talking to two experts in the field today who are going to give us their opinion on what's going on in this important segment, which concepts are working, and how they are building their brand and changing to reflect new demands.
That's right, Robin. We are joined today by Steve Jackson. Steve's the president of Hungry Howie's. The Hungry Howie's story began in 1973 when Jim Hearn converted a 1,000-square-foot hamburger shop in Taylor, Michigan into a successful carry-out and delivery pizzeria. At the time, Steve Jackson delivered pizza for Hearn. In 1982, Jackson and Hearn made a decision to franchise their operation. In January of 1983, they awarded their first Hungry Howie's franchise. Within the next 3 years, 65 franchises were opened within the Hungry Howie's system. In 2004, Hungry Howie's was awarded Chain of the Year by Pizza Today magazine, and they opened their 500th location in 2005. Steve, thank you for joining us today.
Okay, we're also joined by Matthew Loney, CEO and president of Stevi B's Pizza Buffet. Matt recently joined the ranks of young CEOs looking to make their mark on the franchise sector. Oftentimes, an industry welcomes a fresh perspective on strategy and operations, and at just 36 years old, Matt has plenty to offer. An impressive resume backs his aspirations. In 2003, he graduated with distinction from the University of Iowa College of Law and quickly found himself in the world of fast dining. After a short time as vice president of the distinguished Mellow Mushroom pizza chain, he claimed his current title as president and CEO of Stevi B's Pizza. He now looks forward to the growth of the neighborhood pizza buffet. Stevi B's currently commands a strong presence in the Georgia region with 27 locations in the state. The rapid expansion of the brand is made possible in part by the private equity group Argonne, which is the exclusive franchisor of Southern Favorite Crystal, the largest franchisee of IHOP, and an Applebee franchisee of 100 units. A seasoned player in the restaurant franchising world, Argonne seeks to expand Stevi B's into key markets throughout Alabama, Florida, and Tennessee. Welcome aboard, Matt.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Great. So Steve, let's kick it off with you. Your bio mentioned that you started as a pizza driver and now you're the president of a national pizza franchise. We have so many listeners who are looking at getting their start in the business. Tell us how that happened. How did you work your way up to president of a 550 to 600 unit chain? Ah,
Wow.
Lots of people still use that measure.
What a great story, Matt. I'm sure your story is different. You're a little younger. It sounds like 1970 something. You may not have been even around yet. So why don't you tell us, how did you get to lead Mellow Mushroom and now leading Stevie B's?
Yeah, it was certainly a different story. I went through college and then graduated from the University of Iowa, as you'd mentioned, and I really had no intention of getting into the restaurant industry. In fact, I'd say 10 years ago, if you had told my wife that her husband would be running a restaurant system, she would have laughed at you. I can't make a bowl of Fruit Loops without screwing it up. So, was lucky enough to move to Atlanta, Georgia, where I went to work at Alston and Bird. And one of my clients happened to be Mellow Mushroom, and did quite a bit of their franchising work and some of their real estate site selection. And the owners had started to get to a point where they were kind of stepping out of the business, at least from the day-to-day, and asked me to come over. And at the time, it was the real estate market was starting to slow, which was a lot of what I had done, and the entire business format of franchising really fascinated me, because I felt like it was a great model where it gave true entrepreneurs an opportunity to own their own business, while at the same time providing some of the safety nets that doesn't come with just completely going out on your own. And so went over there and spent a little over a year with Mellow Mushroom and really enjoyed it. And then was approached by Michael Klump, who owns Argonne Capital, and has built up, I think now one of the in the top 50 largest restaurant owners in the country, and has just built up a great portfolio of restaurants. And they had just acquired Stevie B's from the owners, who founded it back in 1996. And and I saw a lot of good opportunities in Stevie B's. We've got a great group of franchisees, and it is truly a local concept. I mean, almost all of our franchisees we don't have many multi-unit guys, and I felt like it was a great way of being able to blend a system with the look and feel of your local pizzeria. And so that's what we did.
That's great. Now, so let's talk about that actual concept itself for a minute, Matt. It seems there's so many different pizza opportunities out there, and I want to start with you. Is the buffet concept part of what differentiates Stevie B's and makes it successful?
It is. I think as you look across the landscape today, the number of sit-down pizza restaurants, fast casual, if you will, or it is really kind of dwindling. I mean, most of it is delivery now. You've seen what Little Caesars has done, and obviously, and part of that too is I think is your grocery store pizza. And so what we've been able to do is create a concept that appeals to people, in that it provides the opportunity to get out with a young family and to enjoy a pizza experience where everybody can have what they would like. But I think, here more recently, what you've seen, especially in the pizza industry and really across the restaurant industry as a whole, is, this move to kind of customization. And that's really what's driving a lot of the new brands today. And when you look at pizza, the beauty is pizza is really the most customizable product out there. I mean, you could argue it was the original customizable food product. And so what we've been able to do is we've taken that buffet, and then we've also introduced the opportunity that if we don't have what you like, to be able to walk in and customize and make your own pizza. And that's how I think we've been able to fill kind of a gap in the sit-down pizza, your local pizza chain space.
So breaking bread without breaking the bank is basically the motto right there.
That's it.
Steve, I know Hungry Howie, you focus on flavored crust pizza as one differentiator for you guys. Does that drive loyalty to your stores, or what also is the secret recipe here for Hungry Howie's?
But that is great. And you know, pizza is really not one of those things that comes up as a health food, but now there's this push from the government to include nutritional information, put that in your stores, make it available for customers. I'll start with you, Steve. Is that changing America's appetite for pizza, or do we just blow right past whatever it says on the ordering menu and we're going for the taste? We don't care about the calories. We'll give it up for pizza. Right. It wouldn't fit in your 1,400 square foot space.
Yeah, I mean, Steve brings up an excellent point. It is an issue. You know, I think as pizza chain owners, we need to be cognizant of the fact that, you know, more information for the consumer is better. But we need to do it in a way, especially for our franchisees and for our systems, that it doesn't become so cumbersome that you lose the forest through the trees. And, you know, when you operate a buffet, as Stevi B's does, let alone the fact that you can come in and customize something that's not on the buffet. Our buffet constantly rotates. So to be able to tell you what may be up there at any given time, and what the calorie count in that pizza, it really, it's virtually impossible. And so, you know, we do have to be cognizant too, you know, of, you know, when we talk about, I agree with Steve. I think that, you know, there is a large group of people, and most of our customers, who are not looking at that calorie count. I mean, when they go out for pizza, it's a treat. They want to enjoy it with the family, and that's the reason they're going. You know, what we talk about in our system is the veto vote. You know, we do want to be cognizant, though, of the person who's trying to watch the calories. You know, we've got a salad bar, and we're constantly trying to update that salad bar with, you know, whether it be our dressings or some of our toppings with, very fresh items, seasonal items, and things like that, so that there is an option outside of the pizza. But, you know, also to the extent that you can roll out different crust items. You know, our thin crust, which we came out with, and it's now got two, soon to be a third option in 2 months here, is a good option for somebody who's maybe a little calorie conscious with the thin crust. So we've got a Greek and a chicken pesto, and then we'll be coming out with a margarita later. And so there are certain things you can do, but I agree with Steve, you can't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
No, I think it's almost like a mission impossible unless you have a electronic, like a stock market ticker that gives you the calories on live moment. You can't really do anything about that, or you could put on the menu from 300 calories to 3,000 calories, but then I don't know if it serves the purpose that the regulators are trying to intend. And speaking of that, I mean, every time I look at pizza, new concept, new segment, new people, I think we've seen it all, but there's always a new concept, a new spin, no pun intended here, for pizzas to come. And how do you guys reinvent, I know Matt, you just talked a little bit about that, but you reinvent your menu, your design, and ask your franchise and your franchisees to stay relevant in the face of new competitors today. Steve, why don't you give us a little bit of insight on that?
Okay, Matt, do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I do, and my job's been, I think, probably a little bit easier than Steve's from the standpoint of, when I came on, we had 24 units. We've doubled in size over the last 5 years, but that ship's a lot easier to turn, right? Than one that's got a few hundred franchisees and has been doing this way for a lot longer, and but I think for all systems, it is a balancing act. I think on the one hand, you can't lose yourself. And you see this among franchisees sometimes, but you also see this among franchisors where, they want to get out of what they do rather than saying, okay, this is what we do. This is why our customer comes to us. How do we improve this area? While at the same time acknowledging that if you're not constantly evolving and getting better, then you're moving backwards. And so, we try to look at the trends in the market, the customization we talked about, and figure out, okay, which of those trends are we uniquely positioned to capitalize on? So for example, and I brought up Little Caesars earlier, and I know Steve, it's in his backyard. They really came back with this, this very popular to-go. Well, there are some, what I think restaurant owners need to understand though is, everything you do, if you're going to be a to-go pizza chain, and takeout only, is everything must revolve around that, from your real estate site selection to your pricing to to your food, your food distribution. If you are a system who is not built and doesn't have those pieces in place, then that may be a trend that you need to pass on, and you need to look at the trends that better fit your layout and your footprint. At Hungry Howie's, kids' birthday parties have always been a huge, and fundraising efforts with schools and churches have been a huge part of the Stevie B's makeup. At Hungry Howie's, even if they like that, That's not going to fit a 1,400 square foot. So I think as long as you balance the two and be realistic about what your system is and what it's not, then I think you can capitalize on new trends and continue to move in the right direction without losing yourself.
I think that this is a fascinating discussion. You're on the air with Eric and Robin Gagnon from We Sell Restaurants. We're the restaurant brokers, and we're joined today by Steve Jackson, the president of Hungry Howie's, and Matthew Loney, the CEO and president of Stevi B's Pizza. I don't want you to touch that dial because we've got a lot more information on this topic. If you happen to miss our entire show, remember you can always visit us online at WeSellRestaurants.com, where you can check out our listings, our immense blog postings, and lots of other information and details about the restaurant brokers and where you can find a restaurant for sale. We Sell Restaurants is your industry authority in the restaurant for sale industry. We'll return after this short break with more information on the incredible pizza segment and its growth.
Hit the pause on there so we can know where to stop.